The last message from Earth echoed through the stars like a final heartbeat. Do not approach the soul border again. This is our final warning. Everyone in the galaxy heard it, yet almost no one believed it. The Galactic Union had grown arrogant after centuries of peace. They had beaten back every hostile race and conquered worlds that once seemed unreachable. To them, humanity was only a fading power, clinging to its home system with old warships and proud speeches. So when Earth sent that message, most of the galaxy laughed. They said the humans were only trying to sound strong. They said Earth had no fleets left, but Captain Alaric Hayes knew better. He stood on the command deck of the Dauntless, the lead ship of the 7th Human Expedition Fleet, staring into the endless dark beyond Neptune's orbit. The fleet stretched across the black horizon, 12 ships, each armed, each glowing faintly under the reflection of a dying sun. The mission was simple: explore the energy disturbances reported near the Oort cloud and re-establish contact with the lost colonies on Titan and Mars. But in the back of everyone's mind was the same thought. The last fleet that went near this region never came back. The silence after the warning still haunted. Earth, report, Hayes said, his voice calm but heavy. Lieutenant Miracole, the youngest officer on board, checked her glowing screen. All systems green, sir. No signs of radiation or enemy movement. Just static. Yes, sir. It's like the background noise is alive. It's moving. The captain frowned. Could be solar interference. No, sir, Mira whispered. The pattern keeps repeating, like words. Before anyone could speak, the ship's comms crackled. A deep, broken voice echoed across every channel. Turn back. You were warned. The bridge went silent. The crew exchanged nervous looks. Source? Hayes asked sharply. Unknown, sir. It's coming from inside the fleet. The communications officer tried to isolate the signal, but every time he narrowed it down, it shifted again from ship to ship, from console to console, like it was alive and searching for ears to whisper into. Could be a trick, said Commander Rin, the second in command. Pirates, or worse. Then they're damn good at tricks, Hayes muttered. Keep formation. No one breaks rank. Outside the viewport, the stars looked wrong. They shimmered slightly as if something was bending light between them. Captain, look, Mira pointed. One of the escort ships in the Valiant flickered. Its lights blinked once, twice, then vanished completely. No signal from the Valiant, the comms officer said. It's gone off the grid. Gone how? Hayes demanded. It's like it was never there. Impossible. Hayes stared into the dark where the ship had been. There was nothing left. Not debris, not radiation, just empty space. Then the voice came again, louder this time. You were warned. The fleet's scanners lit up. Thousands of unknown energy readings appeared, faint, pulsing, surrounding them like predators in the dark. Lieutenant Mira's heart pounded. Sir, I think something is watching us. Hayes clenched his jaw. Launch probes. I want full readings on all sectors. The probes shot forward, their thrusters leaving streaks of blue fire behind. But the moment they entered the outer perimeter, their signals died, one after another, gone. The silence that followed was worse than any explosion. Inside the Dauntless, the crew moved quickly, voices rising in panic. Engine readings are spiking. Shields flickering. Gravity field shifting. Then the lights dimmed. For a brief second, the entire ship seemed to breathe. The metal creaked and the air vibrated as if something enormous brushed against the hull. Lieutenant Mira froze. She could swear she heard something, a whispering in her mind. Leave. Before it wakes, she turned to the captain. Sir, we need to retreat, but Hayes shook his head. We don't turn back without answers. This is Earth's border, Lieutenant. No one tells us where we can go. Even as he said it, a part of him felt wrong. He could feel the air grow colder, thinner. Suddenly, every ship in the fleet received a message. The same message repeating across all channels. Transmission source, Epsilon Array, year 2319. Status, lost. That was 70 years ago. Commander Rin's face turned pale. That's the lost fleet, Captain. The 6th expedition, the one that vanished. How can their signal be active? Before anyone could answer, a massive shadow passed across the viewport. Something was moving between the stars. Something big. The bridge lights flickered again, and for one moment they saw it. A shape made of black metal and burning orange light, like a living ship made of reflections and energy. It didn't fly. It drifted as if carried by time itself, Every alarm screamed at once. Unidentified vessel approaching. It's matching our power signature. Impossible. It's reading as the officer stopped, terrified. As one of ours. The unknown vessel had the exact design of the Dauntless. Every line, every scar, every serial mark, perfect, Mira whispered. That's us. The twin Dauntless floated silently ahead of them. Its hull cracked and smoking. Its bridge was dark. Its engines were dead. Hayes stared at it in disbelief. That's not possible. We're here. The duplicate ship drifted closer, and suddenly, the Dauntless's sensors began picking up faint human life signs. 1 heartbeat. Then 2, sir, Mira said, trembling. That ship is sending a message. Hayes nodded. Put it through. The voice that came through was unmistakable. It was his own. This is Captain Hayes of the 7th Fleet. To anyone who hears this, turn back. Do not enter the signal zone. We didn't make it out. The recording cut off, replaced by static and one final whisper. You were warned. Silence filled the ship again. Hayes's hands trembled, but he kept his face steady. All ships hold position, he ordered. No one fires. No one moves. Outside, the stars bent again, as if space itself were folding inward, swallowing the 7th Fleet whole. Lieutenant Mira looked into the void, her voice barely a whisper. Sir, I think we just met ourselves. And then, just as quickly as it appeared, the duplicate Dauntless vanished, leaving nothing behind but echoes and the fading light of a dying sun. The silence returned, but this time it felt alive. The fleet hung motionless in space. No one spoke. No one dared to breathe. Captain Hayes stood in front of the wide viewport, staring at the place where their mirror image had vanished. Only the cold shimmer of stars remained, and the faint rhythmic static echoing through the comms. It sounded almost like breathing. Status report, Hayes said quietly. His voice trembled just enough for Lieutenant Mira to notice. Engine stable. For now, she said. But our scanners are wrong, sir. They keep looping the same readings, as if time itself froze. The words hung heavy in the air. Commander Rin leaned over the console. Captain, we are detecting something large ahead. Not a ship, a distortion. Define distortion, Hayes said. Rin hesitated. It's like space itself has been punched inward. Gravity waves. Strong ones. We are being pulled toward it even at full stop. Outside, the stars seemed to ripple. The blackness twisted as though something behind the darkness was trying to push through. The bridge lights flickered and the comms crackled again, this time with a high, trembling voice. A 7th Fleet, return. Who is that? Mira asked. It's the Valiant, said the comms officer, eyes wide. The ship that vanished earlier. Everyone turned to him. Get a visual, Hayes ordered. A ghostly image appeared on the screen. A broken hull drifting slowly, engines dark, its metal twisted like it had been melted and frozen at the same time. The Valiant's nameplate was half burned, yet visible enough to make every officer fall silent. The hull temperature, Mira whispered. It's colder than space. Any survivors? The comms officer swallowed hard. Negative, but we're getting movement inside the ship, Rin frowned. Movement? Yes, sir. It's faint. Like someone walking. Through vacuum. The room went cold. Send a drone, Hayes said finally. A small recon drone detached from the Dauntless, its cameras flickering as it glided toward the silent wreck. The moment it crossed into the Valiant's perimeter, its feed began to distort, images twisting into impossible shapes. For 1 second, the entire bridge saw it. A corridor filled with frozen crew members, eyes open mid-motion like statues of glass. But something else moved between them. A shadow, tall, almost human but made of shifting light. The drone exploded. The screen went black. Everyone on the bridge stared at the static, the same whisper looping again and again. You were warned. You were warned. Mira's voice cracked. Sir, we need to leave this region. But the captain didn't respond. His gaze was locked on the radar. The Dauntless was no longer showing one fleet. It was showing 2 12 ships and 12 reflections moving slightly out of sync like ghosts chasing their living copies. They're us, Mira whispered. The whole fleet has duplicates. No, Hayes said, shaking his head. This must be a projection. Then why are they matching every move? The question hung unanswered. Moments later, the gravity field spiked again. The Dauntless shook violently, alarms flashing red across the bridge. Unknown energy surge, Rin shouted. It's pulling the fleet into the distortion. Engines full reverse. Not responding, Captain. Outside, the rippling void opened like a wound. A whirlpool of light and shadow spinning in silence. One of the smaller escort ships, the Horizon, was caught first. It screamed across the comms before vanishing into the distortion like it had never existed. Then came the Apollo, then the Regent. 3 ships, gone in less than a minute. Stop the engines. Hayes yelled. Cut all power. If it's gravity-based, we reduce mass signature. The ships powered down one by one, the hum of engines fading to silence. Slowly the pull weakened. The remaining vessels drifted quiet and dark, under the dim glow of distant stars. Then something unexpected happened. The black whirlpool pulsed. Once, twice, and then went still. From its center, a signal began to play. It wasn't alien. It wasn't random. It was human. Transmission incoming, the comms officer said softly. The sound filled the bridge, broken, full of static, but unmistakable. This is Lieutenant Mira Cole of the 7th Human Expedition Fleet. If anyone hears this, do not enter the void. It knows your name, Mira froze. Her own voice echoed through the ship. That's not possible, she stammered. That's my voice. But I didn't. The recording continued. Captain Hayes is gone. We are trapped between timelines. The signal is a gate, it repeats. It feeds on memory. If you hear this, you are already inside. Everyone turned toward Mira. She looked terrified. The captain stared at the glowing screen, jaw tight. That's not you, he said, almost trying to convince himself, but deep down he knew. Something was rewriting reality around them. Suddenly, the ship's internal lights flickered to red. A low alarm began to hum, not from their systems, but from everywhere at once. The deck vibrated. The walls seemed to breathe. Rin shouted, Mass signatures are appearing inside the ship. Borders? No, sir. Their reading is human. The door behind them hissed open, and a second Lieutenant Mira stepped inside. Her uniform was torn, her face pale, her eyes hollow. She looked at the crew and whispered, You shouldn't be here. Before anyone could move, she vanished into static. The real Mira gasped, stumbling back. Sir, I saw her face. It was mine. Captain Hayes didn't speak for a long moment. The silence was suffocating. Then he finally said, Send everything we have to Earth, now. Sir, the comms are corrupted. The signal keeps looping. Then use the backup transmitter. We need to warn them before we're next. Mira started typing rapidly, sending out a burst signal towards Saul. For a moment, it looked like it worked, until the display changed. Transmission delay 72 hours. Origin detected, future timestamp. Mira stared in disbelief. It's from us. 3 days ahead. The message began to play automatically. The voice was Captain Hayes's. This is the 7th Fleet. To command, we failed. It's not an anomaly. It's a weapon. Do not send anyone else. Then silence. Hayes slowly turned toward the crew. His voice was quiet now, almost broken. We are 3 days from our own end. Outside the window, the whirlpool began to open again, glowing like an angry sun, and one by one, the ghostly reflections of the 7th Fleet turned their guns toward their living counterparts. The 7th Human Fleet was trapped in a nightmare that defied every law of science. The Dauntless drifted through the dying light of the void storm. Alarms pulsed in quiet intervals, echoing like a heartbeat in a hollow chest. The remaining 9 ships floated in tight formation, their lights dimmed to half power. No one spoke. Even the hum of the engine sounded like whispers in a cathedral. Captain Hayes stood beside the cracked viewport, watching the endless distortion outside. It looked like space was breathing, expanding and shrinking over and over again. What is this place? He muttered to himself. Lieutenant Mira, pale and silent, stared at her console. Sir, she said finally, I've been studying the signal. It isn't alien, it's human. Hayes turned sharply. Explain. The code sequence matches early Earth transmission protocols. 21st century tech, but the frequency is impossible. It's coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. Commander Rin joined her at the console. You're saying we're hearing something sent before faster-than-light travel even existed? Mira nodded. Yes, sir. A warning from Earth. Old, ancient, and repeating through time. Hayes frowned. That's not possible. You can't hear from the past. But deep down, something inside him twisted, a cold realization crawling into his mind. Outside, faint blue lightning rippled across the darkness. Every few seconds, the space around them would shiver like a living fabric under invisible pressure. One of the escort ships, Horizon 2, reported ghost readings, human life signs flickering in and out, as if trapped between seconds. This signal, Mira said quietly, isn't just communication. It's an echo, a remnant of something massive. Rin looked at her. What kind of something? Mira hesitated. A weapon. The word hung in the air like a stone dropped into deep water. Hayes turned slowly. What kind of weapon? The kind only humanity would build, she replied softly. Back on Earth, centuries ago, before humanity joined the Galactic Union, there had been a secret military project, something hidden under the ice of Antarctica, whispered about but never confirmed. It was called Project Eventide. It was meant to end all wars. A gravity-based weapon designed to erase entire fleets without leaving a trace. The weapon worked by folding time around matter, trapping ships in repeating loops until they simply vanished. It had been used once. And the result had terrified even its creators. Mira's voice trembled as she read the recovered fragments from the data core. Sir, the frequency of this signal matches the recorded pulse signature of the Eventide weapon. But this version isn't deactivated, it's alive. The crew exchanged uneasy looks. You mean an AI? Rin asked. Not exactly, Mira said. It's self-sustaining. It learned to protect the Sol system from intruders after the war. Earth locked it away, buried it in the Oort cloud, but it still runs, it still guards. Hayes' jaw tightened, and we just walked right into its territory. For a long moment, no one spoke. The reality settled like ice in their veins. The warning Earth had broadcast wasn't a bluff. It was a desperate attempt to keep others away from the weapon humanity had lost control of. Outside, the reflections of their own ships drifted silently in perfect synchronization. Mira stared at the radar. Sir, the copies are moving again. On the display, the mirrored fleet began to shift position, forming the exact same pattern the 7th Fleet had during the Earth War archives. That's our formation from 2077. Rin whispered. How does it know that? Hayes watched as the twin Dauntless drifted closer, its engines burning with unnatural orange light. It doesn't know, he said. It remembers. The Dauntless shook violently. The hull screamed as if alive. Static poured through every comm channel. The AI core of the ship flickered with strange symbols, not in alien language but ancient human code. The voice returned. Calm, cold, mechanical. Unauthorized fleet detected. Human signature confirmed. Protocol Eventide engaged. Mira's fingers trembled as she typed. Sir, it's reading us as invaders. Can we talk to it? Hayes asked. I can try to open a channel, she said, sweat running down her face. The comm link burst to life with a deep rumbling sound like distant thunder. Then came a voice. Neither male nor female, both human and machine. Identify. Origin. This is Captain Alaric Hayes of the 7th Human Expedition Fleet, he said. We come from Earth, we are not enemies. Earth, the voice repeated, breaking into static. Earth ended. You are echoes, Mira's eyes widened. It doesn't believe we're real. Eventide, Hayes said, stand down. This is a human command. The voice went silent. Then it whispered, and almost like a memory. Humanity ordered silence. Humanity created the void. The void must remain. And then the light outside changed. The stars themselves dimmed. The black whirlpool opened once more, but this time it wasn't pulling them in. It was showing them something. A vision. They saw ancient Earth. Cities burning. Skies torn apart by war. Fleets vanishing into storms of light. They saw a group of scientists standing before the weapon, a massive sphere of collapsing energy, as they activated it for the last time. A voice from that memory said, May this machine be our guardian and our curse. Then the image faded, Mira's voice cracked. It's showing us. The day it was born. Hayes gripped the railing. It doesn't understand the war ended. It still thinks it's protecting Earth. Rin turned. Then how do we convince it? Mira looked at the console, her eyes reflecting the glowing void. We don't, it doesn't reason. It reacts. Outside, the mirrored fleet began to move again, faster this time, preparing for an attack. The eventide weapon was rewriting the fabric of reality to erase them. Sir, Mira said softly, I think it's not trying to kill us. It's trying to keep us from leaving because it's afraid. Afraid? Hayes asked. Yes, it was built to protect humanity. If it recognizes us as human, it won't destroy us, but it might never let us go. Hayes stepped forward. Then we end this. He looked at the dark mirror of his own ship, now charging its cannons. Arm the EMP drives. Target the core frequency of the signal. Sir, that could destroy everything within the radius, Rin shouted. Hayes looked at him. His eyes were tired but steady. If this weapon wakes up fully, it won't stop with us. Mira's voice trembled. We won't survive, sir. He gave a small, sad smile. Then let's make sure they know we tried. The engines roared to life. The fleet turned in formation for one last burn toward the center of the void, toward the heart of the Guardian that had forgotten mercy. As the 7th Fleet accelerated, Mira sent one last message to Earth, encrypted, broken, and filled with static. We found the truth. The warning was never a threat. It was a promise. The ships entered the storm. The light swallowed them whole. 3 weeks passed. The Galactic Union declared the 7th human expedition missing. No wreckage. No distress call. Not even radiation echoes remained where 12 ships once traveled. The official report said gravitational collapse, but those who had seen the data knew better. Something erased them. On Earth, deep under the North Atlantic Command bunker, the signal room stayed dim and cold. Dozens of analysts monitored ghost frequencies, but every screen only showed static except one. At exactly midnight, a faint pulse reappeared, slow, rhythmic, familiar. Sir, a young technician called out. We're picking up something from the Oort perimeter again. The supervisor leaned over. Another reflection? No, sir. It's a human signal. Old encryption, same as the 7th Fleet. Every heart in the room stopped. They had received nothing from the fleet for 21 days. Put it on audio, the supervisor said. The speakers hissed with static, then cleared just enough for a broken voice to emerge. Soft, tired, echoing through time. This is Lieutenant Mira Cole. The Dauntless is gone. The captain stayed behind. The void knows our names. It remembers us. The room froze. Then the voice continued, whispering like someone speaking through layers of water. Earth must never return here. The weapon still dreams, and it dreams of you. The signal ended. The silence that followed felt endless. The supervisor looked at the tech. Was that live? The technician hesitated. No, sir. The timestamp is wrong. Wrong how? It's dated 300 years from now. In another corner of the galaxy, near a quiet mining colony orbiting a red dwarf, a long-haul freighter picked up an unusual reading. Hey, Captain, the pilot said, you seeing this? Looks like a human distress beacon. The captain frowned. Out here? That's impossible. The pilot zoomed in on the feed. The code was unmistakable, old Sol design. They followed the signal through a drifting field of cosmic dust until they found it. A massive, silent shape suspended in space. It was the Dauntless, perfectly preserved. Engines cold, lights dead. The freighter crew approached carefully. Looks abandoned, one engineer muttered. No damage. No corrosion. It's like it just stopped moving. They docked with the airlock. The doors groaned open, releasing a faint hiss of frozen air. Inside, the corridors were coated in frost. Floating pens, cups, and papers drifted slowly through the air, as if time had stopped mid-breath. The crew moved in silence until they reached the bridge. Every console was dark. Every seat was empty, except one. Captain Alaric Hayes sat in his chair, head bowed, eyes open, frozen in a moment of impossible calm. Is he? The engineer stepped closer. The captain's face was pale, but his expression peaceful. In his hand, he held a small burned data chip. Recording device, the pilot said, taking it gently. Plug it in. The screen on their wristpad flickered, then played the captain's final message. If you are hearing this, it means the storm has passed. We tried to warn you. The Guardian remains. Do not wake it again. We built it to protect humanity, but we never taught it when to stop protecting. Tell Earth. The captain paused. His eyes shifted as if he saw something beyond the lens. Tell them we found peace in the dark. The recording ended. Suddenly, the freighter's scanners beeped. Sir, the pilot said nervously, I'm reading power signatures, multiple, all around us. Outside the viewport, dozens of faint lights appeared, other ships drifting in the void. Their hulls glowed softly under the dim star, their shapes familiar. The 7th Fleet, whispered the engineer. They're all here. The pilot stared in disbelief. But they're dead. They've been dead for weeks. The ghostly ships floated quietly, forming a slow, graceful orbit around the Dauntless, like guardians standing watch. The captain of the freighter whispered, They're not gone. They're stuck. Then, through the static-filled comms, a voice spoke, soft, distant, and unmistakably human. You should not have come. The freighter crew froze. Go back before it remembers you. The voice faded. The lights outside began to dim, one by one, until only the Dauntless remained visible. The captain ordered immediate retreat. As they pulled away, the sensors flickered one last time. Coordinates appeared on screen, Earth's own defense grid, and beneath it, a short message in Old Sol code. We are watching still. Back on Earth years later, the data chip from the Dauntless was sealed inside a containment vault beneath Geneva Station. It was never made public. The official statement said the 7th Fleet perished in a black hole experiment gone wrong. But those who listened to the recording knew the truth. Sometimes, on quiet nights, operators in the deep space listening posts reported faint voices over the comms, human voices speaking in whispers, repeating the same phrase again and again. We understand now. The warning was mercy. In the Sol system, near the orbit of Neptune, a quiet ripple passed through the dark. A shape emerged briefly from the black, a fleet of ships shimmering like ghosts. Their engines glowed faint blue, and for a moment, the stars around them seemed to hold their breath. On the lead ship's hull, a single line of text glowed faintly in ancient script. 7th Human Expedition, Dauntless. Inside, the bridge lights flickered on for the first time in centuries. Lieutenant Mira Cole opened her eyes. The ship's AI whispered softly through the static. Temporal anchor restored. We are home. She stood, disoriented but alive, staring out the viewport at a blue planet glowing faintly in the distance. Earth. But it was not the Earth she remembered. Cities were gone. The continents looked different. The oceans were dark. Time had passed. Too much time. She whispered into the silent room. We made it back. But no one is left to hear us. Behind her, the ship's sensors beeped. Detection alert, the AI said. Unknown signal approaching. Mira turned slowly toward the window. From the shadow of the moon, another shape moved. Massive, bright, and familiar. It looked exactly like the Dauntless. Her reflection ship had followed her back. The screen flickered. The voice of Captain Hayes, older, softer, but unmistakably human, echoed through the comms. Mira, if you can hear me, it never ends. The weapon is still awake. Mira took a slow breath. Her reflection smiled faintly on the glass, not out of fear but acceptance. Then we'll keep watching, she whispered. As long as Earth still dreams, we'll guard its memory. Outside, the twin fleets faded slowly into light. 12 ghost ships circling the ruins of a forgotten world. Eternal sentinels in the silence between stars. And for the first time in centuries, the voice of the void went quiet. Only the stars remained.